Okay, we are on 19A. The last thing we were discussing were the law of P tikra, the edge of a ceiling. Do we say that the edge of a roof, do we look at it that it goes down and closes an area? And Rava went on record, and Rava said that in the case of a roof, the edge of a roof, Rava spoke about the case of a sukkah, that if you wanted to go ahead and use the edge of a ledge to serve as a wall, because you want to say that the edge goes down, so Rava says we don't say that. And Rava said that, and Rava said that even though we have a rabbi that says that we do say the edge goes down, let's say by the case of the Sadra in the valley, where we said that if a person has these 4 poles in the valley and he has this cover on top, we say that the edge goes down and it encloses the area. So he says there, it was made specifically, that edge was the edge of a cover that was made to enclose for this area. Therefore, since it was made for the space inside, so therefore we could say in that case maybe that the wall, that the edge goes down. But to say that the edge goes down to form a wall for some other space where it wasn't designated for, like the ledge is there to serve the space underneath. Now you want to go ahead to enclose the space underneath. Now you want to go ahead and create a wall from the ledge to enclose a structure, a sukkah, because right outside the ledge you're going to place schach and make a sukkah. So to say that will form a wall, but to say that the edge of the roof goes down, that we don't say. So the Gemara says, now we're on 19A1, the bottom of the page. Rav Ashi Chayla Rav Kahana. Rav Ashi met Rav Kahana because Mesachech Agabe Asadra She'ein Lo Psimim. That he saw that Rav Kahana was using a sukkah by an achsadra, by this ledge that did not have simim, that there was no columns underneath. If we recall, we said, you sent out, right, Adam? Recall that if you have columns underneath, that forms the wall, as long as the spaces between the columns are not more than 3 tfachim. So we said, if you have a column right here, then you have a column right here. So the columns come together and they serve as a wall. So we had a structure. Rav Ashi met Rav Kahana, and he was using a sukkah regarding an asada she'ein lo psimim, that there was no columns. If there's no columns, there's no wall underneath the ledge. And Rava said that if you have no wall underneath the ledge, you don't say that the edge of the ledge forms a wall that goes down. So Amalei, so Rav Ashi says to Rav Kahana, Lo Sova Lama, you do not hold, it refers to him as master. You, the master, don't hold Chodam Rava. You do not hold of what Rava said. That Rava said, Yesh lo pesimim sheira. Rava said, if it has pesimim, if there are columns underneath the ledge that form the wall, then it's kosher. Ein lo psilim psula. But if it doesn't have psilim, if it doesn't have this column, it is invalid. It's pasul. So being that that's the case, so how are you going? Now, are you going against Rava? And usually the law follows Rava, right? When you have a machlokas between Abaye and Rava, the law follows Rava. So he was a little astounded that you're going against Rava, and it would seem that it was established that the law was like Rava. So what's the explanation for what you're doing? So now also this is a big lesson in life. When you see something, right? If you don't discuss the issue with the person, you might not realize what exactly you're seeing. Morning, good to see you, Adam. Adam, I might ask a favor from you. Or you or anybody else, or maybe if Adam wants to take I'm going to be leaving in the middle. I have a bris to go to, so I'm going to be leaving in the middle. And maybe, but I want the time to be used that people should be learning. So maybe you'll figure out whatever you'll discuss and anything you want. There's a big Torah out there, whether it's Parsha, Halacha, Gemara, Tanakh. We welcome you back, Adam. Okay, we are on, yes, we are on the 19A. You know, when there's a mabul outside, people should start thinking, the world should start thinking, are they acting in the ways that caused the mabul? Maybe that should be a little bit of if people should think a little bit, right? Adam, when you say the word mabul, the mabul did not come, by itself. The mabul came because the people needed correction. We are on 19A, 19A2 in the art scroll. What we had discussed, he found somebody, Rav Ashi met Rav Kahana, and he saw something, and it appeared that he was using a sukkah that did not have proper 3 walls, because let's say he saw 2 walls. There were 2 walls he saw. That was very clear, 2 walls, as you'll see in the picture on 19A2, 12. See that picture, Adam? And there's 2 walls. You see they're perpendicular walls, correct? Right? I get 2 atoms on the deal, right? So now on the inside, if you're inside this sukkah, you only see the 2 walls, and the ledge was too wide. The Gemara said for it for the wall and back of the ledge to move, to have like dofen akuma, to say that the wall moves. If the ledge is dalan amot, it's 4 amot wide, 7 feet wide, the wall doesn't. We don't say that the wall turns. So where is the 3rd wall? So that was his question, and the only way to the rabbi Rav Ashi, it looked, it appeared that Rav Kahana was using a halachic principle called pi tikra, that the edge of the ledge, we look at it as if that edge goes down and it closes the space, and that would create the 3rd wall. But Rava says we do not use the pi tikra, especially in this case for sure. Rava would say you won't use pi tikra. Maybe in other cases Rava might agree. You would say the edge goes down. So I said, how could you use such a sukkah? You only have 2 walls, and you should not. And to say that you agree with Abaye and not Rava is against the general rule. We go like Rava. So how are you sitting in the sukkah? So he says there was a 3rd wall that you didn't see. If you look at the picture, now we have a halacha. There's a special halacha by sukkah that you don't need 3 full walls. You could have two full walls, and the 3rd wall could be a tefach wide, 10 tefachim wide, tefach wide. Okay, there are certain halachas exactly where do you place that wall, exactly how to use that wall. I mean, generally we would, there's not so simple application of that. But here the Gemara is going to say that there was a 3rd wall that you did not see. And if you look at that picture, do you see that 3rd, this thing coming out over here? That column forms the 3rd wall. Wall 1, Adam, you see that? Wall 2, and this column is going to be wall 3. So he said, you didn't notice that. So he said, that was the question. Top of the page. You don't hold Hadam Rava. Rava says Yeshla Pesimim Kashera. If it has a column underneath the ledge, then it would be kosher because that would form the 3rd wall. The columns if you have columns that within each column is less than 9 to 12 inches of the next column, less than 3 tvachim, we say the word lavud. Lavud means it closes the space. So we look at spaces between 2 things. If it's insignificant amount of space, it's considered closed. If we have a wall, if it's not considered closed, then it would be more open than closed, right? That's not a wall. If you have more open space in an area in something than closed, that's a breach. That's too big of a breach in a wall. What would make a breach in a wall to knock out a wall? There's more open space than closed space in a wall, right? I had a wall, but it's not a wall. If it's more open than closed. So even if you have more open and closed spaces, if you were to add the spaces between the columns, more open to closed, but since the spaces are less than 3 tvachim, it halachically is considered closed. And therefore it's like as if the columns are closed. But don't you hold, if it has these columns in between, it's kosher. If it doesn't have the columns, it is invalid. So Achvilei, so if Kahana showed Rav Ashi, he showed him. Now some take out this the Rishash. If you look at the Gilyon, the Rishash removes this next line, Niram B'fnim B'Hashav B'chutz, Inami, and he puts in Niram and B'chutz B'Hashav B'fnim. He showed him that on the outside you could see this wall, but B'Hashav B'fnim, on the inside you can't see this wall because this wall begins at the end of that other wall, and you're not able to see it from the inside, but you're able to see it from the outside. I might even have a better picture in
The inside, it looks like
two walls,
like two identical things.
two perpendicular walls to each other, but from the outside, you could see there's a third. You can see clearly there's a third. You look at this picture.
Like it's on one.
See the picture? 1, 2, then the color. See, this is going. There's a third wall. But yeah, this is going inside. And if it goes outside, you can't see this side, people can see it. But if it goes the other way, that's where the third wall.
It makes like a Z. The third one.
Right, exactly. It makes like a Z, and that's the third wall, and therefore it is kosher. Yeah, he says that's the chidush. The chidush is that even but since to the outside it appears it's a Z. The outside people see that Z, that last. The inside guy doesn't see that Z. I see here this wall. I see this wall. I don't see that Z that's going over here. But and that's the chidush. The itma we found when it comes to a mavui, the itma. The rabbis say when you have an alleyway, usually you have houses. In front of the house, you have a courtyard. In front of the courtyard, you have an alleyway. And the alleyway runs into Rishut Harabim, right? Just like if you see in front of someone's house, you have your open space in front of your house. Let's say you're surrounded, you have 3 walls. You have a wall of your house, and you have a side wall, another wall, but then it opens into public property. But now, the 3 walls, you have 3 walls. So really your space is private property because of the 3 walls. I have wall here, and I got a wall in the back. The problem is I have no 4th wall here. And the Rishut HaRabim is right outside my property. This is here. I have a wall here, and I have a wall here, and I have a wall in the back. I'm wall, and here's my 2 side walls. Well, what's the issue? The issue is, right, Adam, is that I might come from the people on the inside might come to walk outside. On the inside, it's private property. They might come to carry outside. Or on the outside, they might come to carry inside. So what do you do? Good morning. Boker Tov. So you Talit? Right there. So what do you do? Next column. What you got? What do? You put up a beam, a korah, that people could see this. You're entering into a private spot, or good morning, or you go. That's one of the things that you go. Or you put up a lecha. You put up a board by the front, and everyone you see the board, so you know to identify this as private property and that's public property. But what about if you did it in a way that it's only recognizable to people on the outside, and it's not recognizable to people on the inside? So is that considered a good enough? We consider like a wall, and it'll be fine. So we found the precedent when it comes to Shabbat. We find it's called we consider it like a wall. So to the Gemara says by Sukkah also we'll consider that Z, that last wall that you don't see on the inside, but the fact that it is existing, it has the halachic status of a wall. So let's see what the Gemara says. The Gemara says The itma we learned, nirame b'chutz. If it is seen on the outside, yishav mifnim, and the inside it's straight, and you don't see it on the inside. Nidon mishum lechi. It has the status of a lechi. It's the status of that board, and therefore the lechi haina pesimim, and lechi has the status of a wall. So therefore, that's what he explained to him, that the situation that he was in is was because he had this third wall, so to speak, that Z. You should know a lot of places. This past Shabbat, I was in Staten Island, and a lot of residential homes in Staten Island. So you see how they have exactly this. They have the house, and they have the alleyway where children play. It was like multiple houses open up into this courtyard, which is similar to the case of the Gemara. Courtyard, and the courtyard opens up to an alleyway. But here it opens to the courtyard, and this courtyard or this alleyway opens into public property, because they have the courtyard is private, it belongs to the houses. It's between the two houses, right? There was houses over here, there were houses over here, and there was there was the back houses, the front houses, but the front then the front house, so that when that alleyway hits the street, that area is open. So what did he do? So they had a board over here and a board they on two poles on the side, whatever they had, and they put a string across. One assignment. By putting the string across, okay, we'll have to look more at that. That serves as a hecker. It serves as a sign to the people that everybody needs to know you're going out. Also, they made it's like a surat pesach. Also, it's even they did it in a way it looks like entranceway, two sides and a string across and put right. So it looks like you're entering into private property.
Even if there's nothing
and they put something like that. Frame, exactly, like it's sort of pesach, and therefore that's how they go ahead and they know to be careful. Like you can't step out. You're carrying. You're having a bottle of water. You can't step outside because that's public property. You can't go from private property on Shabbat to public property. So that's the idea, and that's what our Gemara. That's what our Gemara is discussing over here. So we see how the Chachamim were so careful on Shabbat. They wanted to make sure that people don't make a mistake. On a Torah level, you're in a private property, but you have three walls, right? What makes you a Reshut HaYachid, a private property? Three walls. But the Chachamim are concerned, the rabbis are concerned, you might come to what? Carry outside. The same way, these houses, if they're sharing this courtyard in front of the house, they have to make an Erev Chatzerot. They have to take food from each member's house or wherever they do it, and they put the food into one member's house to make like it belonged to one house. Because since this courtyard is shared by many houses, it has a resemblance of public property. And since it has resemblance of public, because many families use it, if you carry there, you can think I can carry in public property. So therefore they create this law called Erev Chatzerot, that we got to join the courtyard, that to join the houses, that we all as if we're living in one house, and therefore that's why we're allowed to carry. Again, the rabbis instituted many things to protect us, that we shouldn't come to carry on Shabbat. Like it says, it says you have to check your pockets before Erev Shabbat to make sure you have nothing in your pocket in a place where there's no Eruv. Yes. Exactly. That's what it's supposed to combine. Eruv is to combine everybody together. No, it's Eruv. It's to mix together, to combine everyone together, and combine the community is private, like one, right? And you know what? When you join together, it's harevna, it's sweet. It's sweet when people come together. That's sweetness.